So we're gonna start out with this one, which is the MacBook Pro M1 Max. It's a maxed out system with 32 core GPU and 10 core CPU. Also 64 gigs of RAM. Some of you pointed out that RAM is going to play a big part in this, so we're gonna test that out. So we're gonna start with a maxed out system and then keep going until, well, I'm gonna try this with the MacBook Air, but we'll see. And hey there. By the way, I kind of destroyed my office setting this up. All right, so here it is. I've got the MacBook Pro, and we're gonna be testing it with 1, 2, and 3 4K monitors here. I'm gonna kick things off with the Xcode Benchmark. And just to get a baseline for how long this takes to build on this machine, I'm gonna run it just like that. All right. So this is gonna run the benchmark test. In my experience, it ranged from the fastest was about 94 seconds to about 100 seconds. Let's also check the RAM usage while this is being built without anything being plugged into it. So let's go to Activity Monitor, Memory tab, and let's keep that open. We'll keep an eye on it. Okay, so right now we're using 15 gigabytes of RAM already and 6.5 megabytes of swap. This is gonna hurt those 16 gigabyte machines quite a bit. So the idea here is I'm gonna build this project here on this machine, and then I'm gonna hook up these monitors one at a time to see how that'll affect the build on this machine. And we're gonna do that for all the machines. This might take a while. Not only that, I've also got a little package here from OWC. This is one of their new Thunderbolt 4 docks, and we're gonna try it out. Okay, they don't call it a dock, they call it a hub. And this is supposed to be brand new, Thunderbolt 4. Hopefully this will work to expand this bay. So we're gonna see how this affects the MacBook with each one of the monitors plugged into a separate port. And then we're gonna see how it's gonna play out if I plug only one port and I plug this dock into there, this hub, into all the monitors. I don't think that is gonna work. I think it's gonna be 2 monitors max per port, so we'll see. All I've got to go on is specs on the website. This is a real test. We're done with this build, folks, and it's 95 seconds. So that gives us a little bit of an idea of how long that took. All right, now we're gonna plug in the monitor, first monitor, and let's set it up. And by that, I mean, I normally don't use the second monitor at its default scaling. So I don't like the way it looks. I wanna scale it a little bit, so I'm going to change that. Over here in displays, display settings. By the way, I am also using HDMI out so I can record the screen, so that will also play a little role here. And I don't want to set it for mirroring. I want to set it up for extended display. Okay, so that's extended now. I'm going to set it to scaled, and I like this one over here, which is 2560 by 1440. Let's see what this one looks like. I think this is the 4K option. Oh no, the one all the way on the right is the 4K option. Way too small for me. I don't like that, so I'm gonna go to this one because this one seems more natural. Now, as far as the options here, I have a maximum of 60 Hertz on all these monitors. Sorry, folks, for those of you that asked for 120 or 144. And I do set the high dynamic range in standard rotation. Okay, now as far as positioning, it's over there somewhere. Yeah, there we go. Let's kick off that build again. It's already using, well, it jumped up to 28 gigabytes of RAM usage. Now it's down to 16.8. So, okay, maybe that was just a little spike. It's gone now. You may have a monitor, but if you're not using it, what's the point? So let's pop open a Chrome tab over there, maybe with developer tools. All right. Sorry you can't see that monitor, but hopefully that camera can capture some of that. I know you can't see the details on that. Anyway, 16.81 gigabytes used. Let's see how long this takes. While that's building, by the way, let's just play around with that second screen. It's very smooth. I mean, I can move the window just like any other screen. Works pretty well. And I think we have a result. 92 seconds. Hold on. This is the fastest time I've ever gotten in this test. And it's with a plugged-in monitor. So, I don't know about that. That's interesting. I guess that didn't affect it much. Let's see if having 2 monitors plugged in will do anything. Now, I find it a little bit annoying that every time you plug in a monitor, everything just gets reset. And I have to go in here in display settings and change everything around again. So I'm gonna do this one more time, but then you'll know that I'm doing pretty much the same thing every time. I'm gonna scale it the same way. I'm gonna set the color profile to the default. Refresh rate will be 60 all the time. I'm gonna select high dynamic range, and there we go. Okay, I've positioned these to relative positioning. Let's check out the build here. Kick it off, Chrome up here. Maybe we wanna watch a YouTube video. Let's see. Yeah, Mr. Beast. He needs more views. That video started up a little choppy. Okay, let's check out the RAM usage. We're at 17.58. So a little bit more RAM usage on this one. Another Chrome window up here, perhaps, and maybe developer tools. Okay, now the video is playing pretty smoothly. Let's take a look at what resolution is playing at. HD, come on, that's all you got? Yeah, that's this video, I guess. All right, we're done. And now we're seeing some effects. So we're down to 102 seconds. 102 with 2 monitors. Where's my third monitor? Plug it in, let's go. Okay, I've got these organized now. You kind of have to organize it so you can drag windows back and forth on it. Anyway, we're already up to 18 gigabytes and I'm not even building anything right now. So let's start the build. Stack Overflow. Yeah. How come when I go to the home page of Stack Overflow, I feel totally lost? When are you ever on the home page of Stack Overflow? Does that ever happen? 20 gigabytes used. Wow. Now these are full screened up there. So let's see if I can, now it's full screened. If I drag it around, it's still pretty smooth dragging around. So it's handling that pretty well. We're at 20 gigabytes used. Not too much swap, just 6 megabytes. But again, this is a beefy machine with 64 gigs of RAM. So it's not really feeling it. It's working fine. And the fans are at 1500 RPM. We're at 81 Celsius on the temperature of the processors. So the fans are spinning just gently, but I can't hear them, which is nice. Okay, we're done here and we're down to 109 seconds. So we are seeing some performance degradation there. Let me just put this in. Let's see if I can find a 4K video. Linus. Yeah, Linus needs more views, always. Let's switch this to 4K. There we go. And let's go with theater mode. There we go. What if I play 2 of these? So I've got 2 videos now. Should we do a third one? Just to push it a little bit. Make sure these are all 4K. Yes, they are all 4K and they're playing smoothly. Very smoothly, very nice. Now all I gotta do is just build this project. Let's go. Videos are playing very nicely. Everything is smooth. Each one is coming in at 4K. There's no drops. But now we're at 28 gigabytes of RAM usage. 34. Wow. When are you gonna watch 3 4K videos at the same time as a developer? Probably not likely, but you're gonna be somewhere in between this test and one of the other tests. And hopefully that covers your situation. Or at least gives you an idea of where approximately you might fall in that range. Oh, this thing is tiny. I thought it was gonna be bigger than that. Don't make comments. Don't make that comment. All right, 104, not bad. All right, so this has 1 on the front, Thunderbolt going to the computer, and 3 in the back. So I'm gonna try hooking up all 3 of these monitors to these 3 ports. These are the new Thunderbolt 4 cables. Okay, so let's plug this in. And sorry folks, gotta unplug y'all and plug 1 of these in. And I'm just gonna rapid fire these, 1, 2, and 3. We're not doing 1 at a time here. Let's see who comes on. Oh, we only have 2. Yep, 1 of these is not detected, folks. This one. Now, I don't know if that's because the monitor is not detected or the port. Let's try to switch these out. Maybe that port is dead. Preferences error. What? I'm gonna break this computer. It's not good. The rumors are true. You can only hook up 2 monitors if you're daisy chaining these. Everything is back in order. I have 1 monitor running directly from the computer and 2 of them are going through the hub. 101 seconds for the build time. Not seeing that much difference, folks. I mean, yeah, when you plug in the monitors, it is a little bit worse, but it's not terrible. Moving on to the next machine. All right, folks, now we've got the 16-inch M1 Pro MacBook Pro. And this one has 10-core CPU and 16-core GPU and only 16 gigs of RAM. So you can already see the difference here. Memory used just standing still is 6.18 gigabytes with 400 swap being used. So we'll see how that affects it. We're at 42 degrees Celsius, fans are off, and no monitors are plugged in. Let's kick it off. So here's our first build for that. Okay, now while this thing is building, we're down to 4.3 gigabytes of RAM. I don't know, it's lower for some reason. The RAM usage seems pretty low to me anyway, so I don't know, maybe it's just not using that much RAM. Well, that kind of makes sense, right? Because this task is not very RAM intensive. It's when plugging in the monitors that you add that demand. And we're done. This one, the baseline is 106 seconds. Let's get our first monitor plugged in. I'm gonna do the same kind of scaling. Let's set it to HDR as well, high dynamic range, and that's pretty much it. I think we're ready for the test. No change yet in our gigabytes on the RAM. All right, let's build this. All right, there's developer tools and Chrome. Now we are up to 7.3 gigabytes used, and the swap is not increased yet, so that's good. I cannot believe this. I can't believe what I'm seeing. This is the fastest time I've seen for this test out of all my machines, even the M1 Max. 90 seconds. I hope you can see that, because that's crazy, even with the monitor plugged in. Next monitor, no time to waste. You know what? I'm just gonna do 2 more monitors. I don't see a significant difference between them, so might as well just plug them all in. What's going on here? No signal. Are you telling me I can only have 1 monitor? I didn't read the specs very carefully, did I? Does it only say 1 monitor for the M1 Pros? Well, you can have 2 monitors, but I'm gonna try plugging in a 3rd one here, and it doesn't like it. It does not like having 3 monitors. By the way, the reason I couldn't get that 2nd monitor working is because I was using HDMI to record the screen. So HDMI is counted towards your limit. Makes sense. But I'm gonna try this hub and see if I can get things working through the hub. Cheat all those Apple engineers with years of R&D behind them, because I'm so smart. I don't think this is gonna work. And indeed, it does not. Here's the good news. If I plug in the hub, I'm only using 1 Thunderbolt port, and I have 2 monitors coming out of the hub. So at least I still have 2 other Thunderbolt ports free and available on the machine itself. Now, I thought I was able to get away because I'm using 4K monitors and not 5K XDR displays. I thought maybe I'd be able to get away with plugging these 3 in and still have them show up. But I guess there's a limit. Now, because of that, I'm not gonna have my HDMI plugged in, so I won't have the screen recording of this part, but I'm gonna tell you what happens, and you have to believe me. So I'm scaling both of these monitors to the same thing I had before, selecting high dynamic range. All right, I've got a 4K Linus video playing up there because Linus needs more views, and we're going to start the benchmark. Ho, okay, 10 gigabytes used, 12. Video is not skipping, video is holding steady. Very nice. Let's pop another one in a different tab. Here we go. Both playing at 4K, pretty nice. And our swap is not going up. Our swap is staying at 404 megabytes. The fans on this machine are still off. Impressive. Although we just hit 90 degrees and the fans just turned on. They're at 1000 RPM now. And we're about 8 to 9 gigabytes of RAM usage. So not much. I don't know where all that RAM was being used on the other machine. This one seems to be more efficient with the RAM. I'm not saying it's more efficient with the RAM. I'm just saying that it seems to be. I don't know why the other one used so much more RAM at this stage. And we're done. This is not a bad little machine right here. The 16-inch M1 Pro, 109. Moving on, I've got the little 14-inch MacBook Pro here, the M1 Pro chip. Now this one is a little baby because this one, this one's got the 8 cores, but it has 32 gigs of RAM and 14 cores of GPU in case anybody's interested. Right now it's using 5.57 gigabytes of RAM, and the swap used is 93. Now, if the other M1 Pro is any indication of what's gonna happen here, I think I'll only be able to plug in 2 monitors into this one, and I'll have to unplug my HDMI. Right now, the screen recording is going on, so we'll start with 1 monitor first. Before I do that, I gotta build the project. Let's go. Now, this one is using up 7 gigs of RAM now while it's building. And that's not that much. The temperature though is 75 to 80 is what I saw before. And now the fans are spinning at 2400 RPM. So it is a smaller machine, therefore it's not gonna get cooled as well as the big 16-inch machines. And therefore it's gonna probably require a little bit more fans, but they are pretty quiet. I really don't hear anything. Okay, we're done with this test. 109. This is without any monitors plugged in. And let's do our first monitor. Okay, got that monitor plugged in. Let's run the test. Okay, we're at 7 gigs right now, and I'm gonna pop open Chrome here. Let's drag it over there, and let's take a look at developer tools. Why am I opening developer tools? Because one of the commenters requested it. So there you go, developer tools is open. I don't have any projects running over there, so you're gonna have to imagine it. Anyway, we're using 9.8 gigs, and I saw it spike to 13. Now it's at 10, and only 93.5 megabytes of RAM. Swap. I mean. So this is a 32 gigabyte machine. Shouldn't really have a problem with this kind of load. Only thing it might have a problem with is displaying on 3 monitors. Okay, not much of an effect there. It's 110 seconds for this one with 1 monitor, and RAM usage was blah, pretty dull. But dull is good in this situation because that means we're not experiencing any crazy issues. So let's plug in these 2 other monitors and we'll see if that even works. I'm guessing it's not gonna work because I gotta disconnect the HDMI. So that's already a sign that this is probably a bad idea. All right, I disconnected the HDMI, then this one popped on. So that means that this is a limitation of this chip. You can only have 2 LCD or 2 monitors plugged in. There is one thing I want to try, and that is closing the lid. So maybe you can have 2, but perhaps with the lid closed, it'll go up to 3. I'm going to try that now. So let's, I'm going to plug it in first and then close the lid. Let's see what happens here. No? You're not using the internal display. Why not show me something over here? All right, so the external displays are limited, not just the total number of displays, but the external ones. I know. I could have read the documentation, right? It's good to test these things out though. So just standing still here, we're pegging 9 gigabytes of usage. Let's do a build. Oh, I need a Linus video. Okay, 4K video there and a 4K video there, and let's build. So before the build, we hit 10.74 gigs. Let's see how long this takes to build. The 4K videos are playing very smoothly, so I wouldn't worry about that. Now we're starting to fall a little bit behind here. So this is the first time I've seen this fall behind. The fans are spun up. We're at 2400 RPM and we're at 117 seconds for build time, which is now the slowest so far. I want to try this one, MacBook Air, to see how much it can handle. This is the MacBook Air M1, so it's not supposed to be able to handle much. Let's figure it out. I got the MacBook Air here. I've always been curious to try this, and during this whole time I've had it, I've never tried plugging in an external monitor into it. I'm curious to see what's gonna happen here. I don't have the HDMI plugged in because there is no HDMI port, that's first. Well, it only has 2 ports on it, and I don't want to use the USB port to output the signal because I might need those. But I'm gonna tell you all about it. So right now we've got 5 gigabytes used. This is a 16 gigabyte machine. It's got 8 cores, by the way, for anybody that's interested. And right now 143 megabytes are being used in swap, so barely anything, and 5 gigabytes are being used by the system. Let's run a baseline build. Let's see what happens here. Ooh, ouch. Well, it is an M1, but we were hitting about 5 gigabytes of RAM, and we're at 161 seconds. The swap hasn't changed, by the way. So considerably slower in a very different category, I would say, of build times, but still not too bad for an Air machine. All right, let's plug in a monitor. Okay, so the RAM is still hovering around 5.12 gigabytes. Let's go to display settings. I want to change this up a little bit here. Same scaling as usual. 1440 is what I usually select here, and let's go with high dynamic range. Okay, we're good to go. Now, I don't see that the RAM is really that affected, so let's do a build and see if this changes things. There's my Chrome with developer tools open. We're up to 11.8 gigabytes, 13.28. Oh, it was a spike, folks. Now we're down to 6.5, 7.75. All right. Oh, oh, that one took a toll. 204. Poor MacBook Air. Okay, let's plug in one more monitor. I don't think this will work, but doesn't mean we can't try. Yeah, that's just not turning on at all. Okay, well, what can we do here? We can go through the hub. Let's see if the hub will allow us 2 monitors. Maybe the M1 chips had something different about their capabilities that, nope, doesn't work. Only 1 monitor. I'm gonna play a 4K video. Oh, this thing is getting warm. Woo! Okay, it's not that bad. Let's see. 44 degrees. It's not that cool anymore. It's getting into that territory where it could potentially be not so comfortable. But if you got external monitors you're plugging in, do you really care about having this on your lap? I doubt it. So it doesn't really matter how hot it gets at that point. Although if it does get too hot, you have to worry about overheating and then throttling. That's a whole different story. As far as RAM usage, it's not that much. 6.63, sometimes we hit 7. The experience is still pretty good. The video is playing smoothly. And this has been the longest possible build I've ever seen. So far, I doubt you'll be doing this. We're at 279 seconds for this one. Now, folks, I know there are workarounds how to get multiple monitors working with the M1 MacBook Airs, and you're free to try those out. However, this is a test of things that are capable out of the box. And if you do require multiple monitors, I suggest you look at the other machines like the M1 Pro or the M1 Max, because clearly your needs outweigh the simplicity of these machines. So the M1, it works very well with one large monitor. There you go. You can probably, now I don't have one here, but you can probably get an extra wide display. Not sure how that'll work. I want to do one more test here, and I want to change the display settings here of this external to 3840 by 2160, which is 4K. So that seems to work just fine, pretty smooth. And that's of course scaled. That's not how I typically use it, but I want to see if that's going to increase the build time. So just one more run and we'll see. All right, so we're building. I'm not seeing any kind of significant RAM usage here. We're at 7.66 gigabytes, 143 megabytes of swap. And this is a scaled video, scaled monitor to 4K, and everything is pretty smooth. Even dragging the window around is just as smooth as always. So if that's how you want to work, you want to fit a lot of things on the screen, this is a perfectly good solution for that. And you can even try doing some of those tricks that are out there for hooking up multiple monitors to see if that'll work. So I don't know what kind of performance degradation you'll see if you do have 2 monitors hooked up, but here we're seeing a significant drop in the performance of this build. And that might have something to do with the fact that this machine is so hot now and is being throttled. The other machines at this point had their fans turned on already. So this one doesn't have any fans, and yeah, it's showing. Now, somebody else asked, what about power and battery usage while this is happening? Well, every one of these cases, there is power supplied externally by the USB, by the Thunderbolt cable. So whatever I have plugged into it, whether it's one monitor or multiple monitors, or even the hub, power is being supplied to the machine, so I don't actually have to worry about the battery. Okay, folks, so we're getting worse and worse here. When that monitor is scaled to 4K instead of my usual 1440, the build time is 345 seconds, the worst I've seen so far. So you can imagine that if I scale all these to 4K with the, imagine? Why are we imagining stuff? Let's do it. This is the MacBook Pro M1 Max. We've come full circle, and I am curious now because I think I've raised my own curiosity about making all these 4K. I know that's not how I like to use them because that's just too small, but I want to see if we can push this thing a little bit further. So I've got, well, in all actuality, I've got these 3 4K monitors hooked up, but I also am outputting HDMI to be recorded. So that's 4. So this machine with this chip actually supports all those screens. And the 16 gigabytes of RAM that's just being used without anything is just sitting there. Perhaps that has something to do with me having these 4K monitors hooked up and the HD signal coming out of the HDMI. All right, now I want to adjust all these and really try to push it out there. So I'm going to go to each one of these. I'm going to scale them to 4K. So far, same RAM usage. Let's play a few Linus videos. Ooh, the dragging is already getting a little bit more choppy, but they're maintaining their 4K-ness. Yeah, you can see the animation of the window is a little bit more choppy now. And we're up to 18 gigabytes of usage without building anything. So let's build this project again one last time to see how crappy it's gonna be. If you have any guesses how long this is gonna take, remember, the fastest was 92 seconds with one monitor plugged in, 95 seconds with no monitors plugged in, and with 3 monitors, it was 109. So if you got guesses while this thing is building, put it in the comments down below. All the videos are playing pretty smoothly, I gotta say. Right now we're at 94 degrees Celsius, 95, 1500 RPM, and I don't hear anything. Yeah, if you saw my video on fan noise, this machine is pretty loud, but that's at maximum fan noise, and you can control the speed with TG Pro, which is this little software, link down below. It lets you control the fan, see the fan speed, and see the temperature of each core, which is pretty cool. And we're done, folks. 107. Wow. So this is the Max machine, and this is what it can do. Clearly, it's pretty powerful. I don't think it even broke a sweat doing that. Not bad. All right, folks, that's it for today. This was a long one, and thanks for your suggestions about what to do here. I'd appreciate a thumbs up as well if you found this useful or entertaining, and I'll see you next time.